I've met you both through email, and now we're meeting in person, but the audience probably doesn't know who you are. So why don't you just start by telling me who you are and kind of how you related to the festival?
I'm Michelle Jarek. I'm the event director. I've been a Rotarian for the last 11, 12 years. And I volunteered at Music Fest, which is our biggest fundraiser for our club, throughout those years. And then in 2018, I naively volunteered to chair it. And
Naively.
naively.
Well, you're still doing it.
Yeah,
So
we're all volunteers, but fell in love with the whole concept of the Music Fest and how to run it, and enjoy meeting all of the new fun people that are every year happening. So just continue to volunteer time to make it successful so we can continue helping people in our community.
nice.
Yeah.
Great. My name is Laurie Hartman, and I have a little bit of tenure on Michelle with the Prior Lake Rotary Club. I actually have been a member for 35 years. And our club is about 100 members strong, and we have quite the story to tell in terms of how our success has evolved over the years and so forth. And our main thing, how much we do for the extended community, because none of us get paid. We are all volunteers, and all of the money that we make goes back to other charities also. So there are quite a few organizations in Prior Lake that are very appreciative for what we do because of the help that we've been able to give them over the years.
So why, Laurie, why have you given so much of your time over 35 years, and why do you continue to do it?
I think it's because of the feedback that we get back from the community also. We do an event in October where we invite all of our volunteer organizations to come in because we pay them or give a donation to their individual charities and so forth. And it's amazing the stories that they have to tell, because as they're giving the check, they tell us what it's going to be used for. And there are so many different things. I think that there are many organizations and different clubs and different activities in town that depend upon us and what we have established over the years, and they are very gracious to help us out, and we in turn return the favor.
All right, Michelle. So kind of a similar question, but how does the Lakefront Music Festival fit in? And like, why is that a big part of what you're doing?
Oh, it's we're going to be celebrating our 17th year, and it started as a free concert just to kind of raise some funds for music festival. Two Rotarians really kind of love music and wanted to bring some bands in, and it was a jazz festival.
Okay.
We started with Johnny Lang as our thing. We knew right away after our first year that we weren't going to be able to do that without charging a little to get people in, just because of the overhead that happens.
Okay.
And that, as Laurie said, we're all volunteers, and I'm fascinated with what knowledge I have accrued over the last 9 years of running this event, and what it's helped me personally in my business aspect, in learning, but the fun atmosphere of music festivals and all that we engage with so many different people, from our talent buyer to our PR people to security to working with the city and all of that. It's such a team effort to provide, over 18,000 people in the park each night to do. So it's fun.
18,000 people.
Yep, we have a capacity of 18,000.
Wow.
For Friday and then Saturday each night. So, yeah.
And it's a beautiful park.
Yeah.
It's Lakefront Park. It's right on Prior Lake. It's kind of right in the middle of the
I was
city.
suspicious if there was a lake around there somewhere.
Yeah. And it's kind of a natural
Amphitheater.
Is that right?
Because it has a huge hill.
Nice.
And it just really natural amphitheater to it.
So take me through just like a step-by-step process of kind of putting something like this together.
Yeah, so when I came on, we were struggling with the fact that we weren't getting our talent until like 5, 6 weeks before our event. And we can't sell tickets very well for that. So we made the commitment to go out and get one of the national talent artist buyers, a variety attraction. And so we work with a gentleman named Bill Magnan, and he works with us getting our talent with all the different talent agencies. And so we started about 18 months before making offers. And we do rock on Friday night, and Saturday night is usually country. And we make the offers and stuff like that. And so our goal is always to announce the weekend of the event. And then this year we are going to be able to announce both our headliners for
next year.
For next year.
Cool.
Which is a great feat, especially with competition all over the place.
Right.
And that. So once we get the headliners, then we can start into how we're going to market it to our customers. We have a core group of loyal ones around us, and that's the majority of our customers. But we like to branch out and through the Twin Cities and across Wisconsin and Iowa and North Dakota, the Dakotas, and that. And then, our headliners tend to have their following. So we get people from all over the United States to come in and that. So we work with them. But it is interesting because then we have to work with the city on making sure, because when you bring in that many people for a weekend, you got to make sure everything is good and we're not destroying the city and that. So we have about 19 different vendors that we work with between security, PR, busing. So everyone, and that's a coordinated event to get everyone into the park because there's no parking around. So we use the school parking lots and we bus them all in and stuff. So it's just a really big coordinated event.
Sounds like you need an army of volunteers to put this thing together.
Yeah, and we have one.
Yeah, we have 14 committees, all Rotarians. And majority of them have all been heading their committee for 17 years.
Wow.
So they're all very dedicated, love the event. And a lot of them don't get to see it because it takes about a week to set up. So we have to create a whole city within a city. Between the fencing that goes around the whole park to tents to the stage. And that is always fascinating because that comes in on Monday morning and it's a large, I call it a transformer because the semi comes into being the stage.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then putting in, and Steve Wingy's group does that and it's fascinating. And then we spend the whole week praying that we don't get rain so the semi doesn't get stuck in the park and that. And then we have...
Has that happened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We've had to
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun story.
Yeah. And then throughout the week, we are building the city, we have like 19 food truck vendors that come in, and then mini tents. We have a big VIP area where you can feel very special and near the stage. And then we have a pit area that you can just stand and be, elbow to elbow with your friends right next to the stage.
Yep.
And then Thursdays when usually our Friday artists start coming in their group. And they're usually traveling all night long in their buses. And then they come in and start working and getting ready for the Friday night. And then Saturday morning is usually 6:00 in the morning is when this year, like Keith Urban's group will all come in. And then we work all day long with them on organizing what they need and stage at crew and setting up and sound checks and feeding them.
So do you have a semi truck full of coffee that comes in as well to kind of keep everybody?
That's very much having a partnership with some local businesses because the Point, Ryan and his team consistently from 6:00 they on in the morning are feeding a large group of stage people with coffee and all of that. So yeah.
Nice. Oh, it's got to be great for the city, I would presume, and even the surrounding neighboring cities. Nice.
Yeah, they're very much in favor of us hosting it also because of they want to show off the beautiful Prior Lake as well. We have one of the prettiest cities, I believe, within the metro area and so forth. And think of the number of people who have never seen our city and that they're coming to visit for the first time, and people just marvel at it. I think when Michelle talks about the 17 years, over time, every year, we have learned something new in order to make it better for our guests and better for our overall experience as well. But we have organizations too that help us every single year. With that, the city has been great. The restaurants, like Michelle said, have been absolutely wonderful. Our partners really look forward to this because it's a great event for everybody.
So what's one of the toughest lessons, maybe other than getting the truck stuck in the rain?
Controlling the weather.
Controlling the weather is just impossible.
Well, we've had some severe weather that has popped up on occasion where we've had to make some last minute adjustments with opening and so forth. It's something that we can't control, but I think we're very safety conscious
Sure.
because we have the weather service that is keeping us well informed throughout the process and everything else. And we punt a little bit. And I think everybody understands because there's nothing that we can do about it.
Right. And nobody wants to go stand out
Right.
in thunderstorm anyway.
Yeah,
So they'll watch their favorite band.
Yeah, and to evacuate 18,000 people, we can do it in 45 minutes, but we have a great partnership with the Shakopee, Maniwaki, and Sioux community, who allows us to use their command center, which is right hooked up with the Chanhassen weather. And so I start talking with them on Monday to chart out, and I never realized I was really going to really become a meteorologist by the end of this time, because I can tell you when all these weather events are going to happen.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You can pick out the cloud formations.
I've learned over the years. I think
Interesting.
the hardest one that the biggest lesson that we learned was when we had to close for COVID. And how to work. We really worked with all of the outdoor festivals in 2020 to make that decision on how not to open. And then in 2021, when are we going to open? And that year we were the first to open in 21 with over 10,000 people outside. So we had a large sellout. That people were very anxious and wanting to get back together.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
Finally, we can go outside again.
Yeah,
Everybody running.
Yeah. So so it was, that was a real difficult time trying to communicate and how to deal with that and making sure you're the safest and stuff. So we learned a lot. Yeah.
So what's another kind of interesting lesson you've learned along the way?
It pays to build community within the community, because without the people supporting us, without our guests coming back every single year, because we have a lot of our repeat customers and so forth, I think that that's the biggest thing. We've proven that we can deliver to our audience. People are very pleased with the acts that we have put on stage and so forth. So I think that that's the biggest thing. We listen to our customers, and I think that we do a great job in providing customer service as well.
Super.
Yeah, and I think I learned right away in 2018 that I had to develop a thicker skin on how, when we announce our artists, because not everyone's going to like them. We all have our different opinions on who should be the headliner and who shouldn't. And then just trying to understand that these guys, this year we have Billy Idol. He's a Hall of Fame, he's in the Hall of Fame. And, it just amazes me that there's going to be someone that would say, no, can't you have this person? And I'm like, nope, can't.
Everybody has their favorites.
Yeah, they're all. So you work on
It's going to be a challenge with 18,000 opinions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't please everybody, right?
No, I know. So
you said in the first year it was a jazz festival. Is that right?
Yep.
So how did kind of that progress? Like the choice of music and like how did that just kind of come together?
I think I was around at that time. I don't think that Michelle had joined up until I think the key thing that we had talked about is what is going to bring the most people into the park. And the decision was made at that time that probably changing it up to rock and to country would be a bigger draw for the people who would be coming to Prior Lake and to support us. And so we did We did pivot after 2 years. I think it was the right decision to go ahead and to make that decision, and it's been extremely successful ever since then.
Nice. So, in terms of like the level of musicians and bands, has that kind of grown and become more and more national over time? Tell me about that.
Yeah, the first until 2018, we were working with a company that was basically helping us pro bono. And so it was very much when they had time, they were going to work on it. And so it was harder to be able to announce, like I said before, a couple weeks before. And that's really hard. And to get some steady acts. So we knew that we were going to have to probably put some money into it to get the acts that we wanted to be able to make this a very long-lasting fundraiser. And that's why we went out and got a national talent buying company, and that with Variety Attraction. And then in 2019, we had Brad Paisley as our headliner. And that for country nights.
So first year you made the choice, you started bringing in the big guns.
Yeah,
All right.
and it was quite the difference. I mean, all of a sudden you're announcing in January, 6-7 months before the event, and it's like, wait a minute, we know how much money we're going to have before we go into this event. What a relief it is, that we can cover our costs. We we don't have to worry about all of that kind of stuff. So it just kind of worked into, okay, this is how we're supposed to do this.
Interesting. So, I mean, as somebody who's never put something like this together myself, that sounds like a huge risk, right?
Yeah.
To take that plunge, to go
Yes.
that bold,
Yep.
into finding that national booking agent and going out and getting national acts coming in. But it proved itself the good decision moving away from, getting the rock and country and then going national.
It was interesting because in 2019 we went big, and it was a lot of like, oh, cross our fingers, we can do this, and then we did it, and then the pandemic happened. And it was like, wow. Okay, we got enough to
something
cover
nobody
it.
planned for.
Yeah.
It's like the weather, right?
Yeah.
But everybody understood because
Yeah.
nobody else was operating at that time either. I think what's really fun too, that once we announced, to watch social media light up and the positive responses that we get from people who are very loyal to our
Nice.
group to say, wow, can you believe that they got them? So
Nice.
it is really nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you said you work a lot, obviously, with the city and with local vendors, and I mean, I would imagine this not only is it bringing revenue in for the concert itself, but there's a whole lot of revenue coming into the local community. Tell me a little bit about that and some of that positive message.
Yeah, I mean, like Laurie said, we have about 40 nonprofits, local nonprofits that all volunteer their time, and then we donate back. So that right now is, last year we donated what,
$142,000
back.
Plus, there were other organizations that we have longtime commitments as far as helping out on an annual basis too. So that was the day in October that we bring all of them together and we hand out checks and they tell us what they're going to be doing with the funds that they have raised.
Right.
And so forth. But I also think the businesses in town to really appreciate
Sure.
that we're bringing in anywhere between 12 and 18,000 people in a night, and they support too. They stay at hotels, they go and they eat at restaurants. Many of them are from out of town, so they're not necessarily living in Prior Lake, even though we do get a lot of support from local residents too. But we do our best to try and shop local wherever we can, and they appreciate the additional business too.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume you're the history person.
I am not the longest serving Prior Lake Rotarian, but yes,
Okay.
I've been around for a long time.
Out of the two of you, I think
Yes.
the way that was it Brad, I think, that set this up.
Bruce.
The way that he set it up. One of you was going to talk to one piece,
Right.
and I noticed you wrote some stuff down. So,
Right.
is there anything there that you wanted to touch on specifically?
Just the difference. We talk about why we do what we do, and we work really, really hard. I mean, this is Michelle's second full-time job, I think, because she also has another full-time job as well, too. And I think for all of us, what we can give back, some of the things that we have been able to fund with our proceeds and so forth. We heard from the Scott County Sheriff. We gave them a big donation to buy a drone, and the drone was used in the capture of the person who um, is believed to have murdered Melissa Horton and her husband. They used it in that capacity. And just a couple of months ago, there was a child with special needs, and he wandered off, and they couldn't find him, and they were just frantic. They put the drone up in the air, and they found him. There are so many stories that we continue to hear back from different organizations and so forth. So I wonder, I know that we're making a difference. I know that people appreciate our contributions to the community and so forth. And so when you ask why we do what we do, and a lot of people have asked Michelle, why do you work as hard as what you do? Because she works extremely hard with this. But that's why we do what we do, because we are helping to make a difference with the different things that we help fund, not only in Prior Lake, but the extended community too.
I'd love to give you a chance to speak to that same thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I often tell the story. I'm part of the international committee of our club, and I write a lot of grants for projects in Peru. Passionate. I fell in love with that country and the people down there. And I knew in 2018 that we had to raise a lot of money to be able to do all of the things that we want to do. We're a very active and passionate club and want to do good in the community. And I met a little young mom down there that broke my heart because she had to choose between two of her kids to have clean water. And I knew then that I wanted to do something to be able to help them down there. And so we raised money and we provided a water grant, and now they have safe, clean water down there in that community. And I go down there every year and I see what we can do. And we're able to do a lot of good things in our community. So.
Well, I think all of us as human beings, right? You either live to live and sustain yourself, or you live with a purpose. And it's really lovely to hear that. I think both of you have found something that gives you purpose.
Yeah.
That's
It's been
fantastic.
fun to watch the camaraderie in our group too. We have people who are join Rotary all of the time. So everybody is involved with the project in some way, shape, or form. But having one common goal has really helped us as a group also. Achieving that, celebrating success, knowing that we've made a difference in the community.
Yeah. Because none of us are musicians. Oh, well, I shouldn't say it. There are a few that are musicians, but none of them has run a big music event that does that's their job. So we have construction owners, we have bankers, we have insurance company, we have educators, we have newspaper editors, we have all of them creating this event. And I think we all want it to be the most successful. And even our volunteers, we have over 2,000 people that volunteered to make this event. And you would all think that they're wearing the blue Rotary shirts because they're so passionate about it, because they want their community event to succeed. And that's pretty cool.
Well, it definitely sounds like you could add it to your resume, right?
And
Flip it over and put this on the backside.
Yeah. And I think that's the difference between us and so many of the other festivals that we do. Have such a loyal group of people that want this to succeed.
Both as customers and volunteers.
Yeah.
I would say that's the reason why it works. We have it on both sides.
So back in the first day that you'd heard of the Rotary, what made you want to search it out, and what made you want to join?
At that time, we probably had 35 or 40 people. I was one of the first women to join the organization because for many years prior to that, women were not allowed in Rotary. And then they got smart. And I will say that our group gets along so very, very well. It's one of the reasons why we've grown as much as what we have. But I also think the fact that we do Lakefront Music Fest has been a big draw for our membership too.
Okay.
We have had people in the community who didn't know a whole lot about us, and they come in and they say, I don't know how you do what you do, but I want to be part of what you're doing, because they see the impact that what it has in the community as well. So some of my very best friends are part of Rotary. Some of the most amazing people and giving people that I have in my life and who I know on a personal level, they're my friends from Rotary. So it works.
Okay. I want to kick it over to you too, Michelle. Like, why Rotary? Why did you join in the first place?
I was. Are we a therapy session?
Tears are allowed. It's okay.
I was, in a transition, kind of a midlife crisis, looking for a different role and different job. I've been in a job for almost 20 years and just looking for connection. And I went to a meeting and I'm like, wow, these people are exciting. They do a lot of fun things. And, I went back the next week and I was just like, yep, this is what I want. It needs to say I didn't know that we were going to do all that we did and that, but I'm so thankful. I'm a better person because of it. I know my knowledge is so much compared to where I was 11 years ago. In my business aspect, running two businesses that I do right now. But the fact that I can rattle off with the city manager of Prior Lake and talk about all the security and what we're going to bring in and talk to a group of guys about all of that. I would have never thought that 11 years ago. Would have never thought I'd be on stage talking to 18,000 people and survive it. Because that first year I was like hyperventilating behind the stand or going.
That's part of your job too, huh?
Yep. We get to announce, so we get up there and talk about what we've done and thanking everyone, and then telling everyone who's coming the next year. So didn't think I was going to be able to do that. Didn't think I was going to sit in backstage and talk to a whole bunch of people that travel all nationally with their. Like last year, Miranda Lambert and their group and get to know all these people and what they all need and what we can do. So, yeah, it's a fun, non-paying job.
So there's a famous story in the music community, right, of the riders, and that Van Halen used to ask for only green M&Ms. What's the craziest, weirdest rider that you've seen in your years of doing this? Don't have to name the band necessarily, but something.
Well, there's definitely writers, and they're very good about the fact that we're an outdoor festival. We've grown in the fact that we do bring portable showers now in, and that because there's some
and brand new toilets.
Yep, air conditioning toilets that are portable, that are great.
Sounds like there's probably a story there, but we won't get into that one.
Yeah. One of them, we had to have a whole parking lot for a semi, which we did not realize that was carrying whiskey. They were traveling whiskey around the whole year so they could sell it the year later, as it traveled the world.
Wow.
It was part of their marketing strategy. So we had this whole semi full of barrels of whiskey. And that was
fun.
We've had a few that have had to make sure that we had medical around,
which we always do.
Yeah, the year we announced Lady A, and Lady A was going to be there. Sadly, the night before, Charles ended up with having a ruptured appendicitis, so they had to cancel that night, so we had to figure out some workarounds on that.
And it all worked out.
And that. So, but yeah, I think the weirdest one was we had the stage manager be allergic to diesel. So our generators had to be 250 feet away from the stage.
And how close are they normally?
100 feet. So
Okay.
we had to
significant longer
runs.
runs.
And that was a couple of years ago, and we had to really work out how to do that. And then you just kind of go, how does he do this all year long if he's traveling with it
everywhere he goes, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a unique one.
Fun.
Yeah. But otherwise, everyone's very common. There's the ones that only a certain liquor that we had to go and find from Wisconsin and ship in and stuff like that. But otherwise, they're pretty good.
Well, Wisconsin has a plethora of liquor.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you get to meet some of these national acts and stuff like that. Tell me a story or two about that. Somebody that you met and you always wanted to meet and it was fantastic. Why don't we start over here?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'm usually behind the stage and,
Okay.
and more the logistics and money person with that.
I see.
So I will defer to Michelle because she has much more face-to-face interaction with them than what I do.
Okay.
You know, they're very they're all. I don't think we've had one that I would say, "Oh my, I wish we didn't have." You know, I will say the year that Darius record came, he was very purposeful to make sure that all of the stagehands were backstage when he left or when he went down after the concert, so he could personally thank all of them.
Oh, that's nice.
And I was like, wow. And then before he went on, he asked a few of us along with his team to come into his tent, and they did a prayer and a shot. So every one of us stood around in the circle, and he thanked everyone of his team.
That's lovely.
And then a few of us, and then they all did his alcohol. And that, so I found that very interesting and very amazing that he really wanted to focus on these people that he's never going to see again and thank them that they would set up their stage. They set up and took down, and it was really meaningful for those people. And then last year, Foreigner asked us to have the high school band or choir do 2 songs on stage.
Oh, wow.
So we coordinated that and had our Prior Lake group of 25 kids get on stage for
They
2
loved
songs.
it.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
A high school kid and not
Yes.
knowing that's coming down your
Exactly.
pipeline.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
Yeah.
great.
So
They had
we
such a good time.
coordinated that
Wow.
and stuff. But yeah, we've been pretty lucky that it is absolutely amazing that the group that artists that we get every year has been wonderful to work with.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I've heard horror stories.
Most
They
places are
exist
very
out
nice.
there.
Yeah.
They exist out there.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've had a lot of musicians come on here as well, and we all say there's a couple people even in the local community that their egos enter the room before they do.
Yeah.
But most everybody is just lovely. You know, most human beings, most musicians are kind of shy, and when they're not on stage, don't even want to talk to people. They're introverted, and then when they
Right.
get up there, suddenly they're larger than life. And I'd imagine your national musicians are probably falling a lot in those same pockets.
Yeah.
So, but it's nice to hear somebody like Darius Rucker who's taking kind of that leadership approach and really just, taking his time and
Yeah.
energy and spending that with others. So
Yeah.
that's
It
phenomenal.
is really nice. And that stage crew, and they come every year and how it's set up, and they still talk about it. So that was it meant a lot to them.
Cool. I had another question. I forgot what it was. There I go. Well, talk to me about this year. Talk to me about what to expect.
What to expect? Well, hopefully the weather is not raining, and then when it's a beautiful night, it is absolutely amazing. The July 10th, we have Billy Idol, Jefferson Starship, and George Thorogood and the Destroyers. And that's a
Nice.
great lineup for a rock night. And that we open the gates at 4:30 in the afternoon, and then Jefferson Starship will go on around 6 p.m. and they play for about 40 minutes.
Okay.
And then George Thorogood. And that it is absolutely fascinating to watch the stage crew and how they all change out so quickly. And that between the artists and stuff. And they'll go on around 8 o'clock. And then Billy Idol will go on at 9:30.
So I'm curious, is never run a festival myself. Do the stage crew come with the band? So they kind of like know how things work? Are they local stage crew that just...
It's majority of it's local that we hire.
Okay.
Because of there's only a certain amount from each band that travels. So they have their band, and then a few of their people that travel with them. But otherwise, we have a stage crew that comes.
Cool. Well, they just got it dialed in. Huh? They know what they're
Yeah.
doing, and
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah. They've been we've been with our stage group. Gosh, I think they've been here almost the whole time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's got to be something they look forward to every year, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're coming from, all over the 3 or 4 state area.
Is that right?
Wenji's group is. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. So, how much are tickets? What types of tickets can I get?
Saturday night too.
Oh, Saturday night. Yeah, we
We
can't
still got
forget about
Saturday night.
Saturday
Let's-
night. Yeah.
Yeah, I derailed you. Let's talk
Oh,
about
sorry.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Can't forget about
Saturday is
that.
always our bigger night.
Okay.
Country is quite popular. And we have Keith Urban, Jackson Dean, and Carly Scott. She'll open, and then Jackson Dean, and then Keith Urban. And he'll go on around 10, so a little later than Friday night. But the
Nice.
gates open at 4:30. And Keith Urban's I've seen him in person at Winstock in 2018, and I knew that we needed to get him sometime, and we finally did. But he is very personable with the crowd, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's in the crowd sometime,
Oh, is that right?
enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to Jackson Dean has a new song that's coming out, so I'm looking forward to hearing that too. So,
Very cool.
but tickets.
Yeah. How much are tickets? Where do I get tickets?
LakefrontMusicFest.com
Okay.
is where we sell our tickets. Currently, June 1st, we went to single night only. We no longer have the weekend package.
Okay.
So it's $110 a ticket for 3 acts. And
Nice.
that's great. Friday night, we do have a few more VIP tickets being sold where you get a whole meal, free drinks, everything. You're up front to see Billy Idol, which is really cool.
Nice.
And that. But yeah, tickets are going really fast, so we're excited to have another good year.
Our ticket pricing too is significantly. I think people appreciate that we try to keep the pricing in line, and for the acts that we're providing
Sure.
to our audience and so forth, it's a great deal. People really appreciate that also, and that's the reason also why they come back year after year.
Nice.
Yeah, and we can share that for 2027, we're not raising the rates.
Right.
So it'll be the 2026 rates. So
That's
we're
awesome.
excited about that when we announce our headliners and in July. So yeah.
As somebody who likes to go to a lot of concerts, it's getting a little bit too expensive now because I've got youngins that like to go, and my
Yeah.
wife and I, and now
Right.
we're taking 4 people. It's a car payment at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
or more.
Right.
So
Well, when you think about it, if you want to go and see Billy Idol or Keith Urban, $110 for a ticket, that's pretty reasonable.
it's pretty reasonable. It is.
Yeah, and we're all in. We don't have ticket fees.
Right.
So it's all in
Nice.
price.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else, ladies, that you kind of thought that you wanted to share that I haven't asked the right question for yet?
Come to our music fest. It'll be a great party that weekend. So, no, that's great. Thank you for having us.
It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure. It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure. So I always wrap up with the same last question, and you may not be prepared for this if you haven't watched any of the episodes yet, but I would like to know who you would suggest would be a great guest for the podcast.
Oh.
It could be a toughie.
Does it have to be local?
It has to be Minnesota related.
Okay.
So it is called the Minnesota Music Note. So I've had some offers of Chicago bands and other things, and I was like, nah, sorry, they don't quite fit.
Boy,
Well, I will say, we have Steve Wingy and his crew that are stage people. They're fascinating. Dave Brum, who is Fire Up Video, he does all of our jumbotrons. And the amount of concerts that they have been to and have incorporated and Dave does all of our, he coordinates with all of the bands and all, as the artists get bigger and bigger, they have a lot of video. And it's fascinating how he does it, and his crew gets it all correct with each song and all of that. So those are very fascinating people that I like to listen
That
to.
sounds pretty fascinating for me, even if it wasn't
Yeah.
on the podcast. So,
And then Bill Magnan, our talent buyer from Variety Attraction, has been in the field for, I think, 50 plus years. And I sit every year and listen to his stories, and his most fascinating ones
fun.
is when he talks about his getting Garth Brooks into the bars scene in the different little bars, and well before he was even known. So it's the stories he has is very fascinating. So
Okay.
yeah.
Those are great. Yeah, those are great recommendations. Thank you.
Yeah.
I might have to email you and say,
Yeah.
hey, get me in touch with them. But that
They have some good
sounds
stories
good.
for you.
Yeah, they would. They would have
Awesome.
really good stories.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. Thanks for making the trip out here. And
Thank
I hope
you.
you had fun. I had a great
Yeah.
time.
We did. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nice. Hey there, Minnesota Music family. If I haven't personally reached out to you yet, consider this your 100% official invitation to join me on the Minnesota Music Note. I'm Will McLeod, co-founder of the podcast crew here in beautiful Robbinsdale, host of the show, and the guy behind the kit for the band Hits and the Misses. I started this podcast because I want to get to know the people who make our scene tick. Whether you're fronting a band, spinning hip-hop, running sound, booking shows, running shows, or teaching the next generation of talent, your story belongs here. We've had everyone from videographers to festival organizers on the mic, and we're just getting started. It doesn't matter if you're playing arenas or just making magic in your basement. If you're part of the Minnesota music community, I want to chat. Slide into my DMs or hit the email below and let's hang out and talk shop.